Okay, so now I'm going to talk about Hamilton's method of apportionment. We already discussed this in class, but you can think of this as a review. I'll go over it again. It's the most simple method of apportionment that we discussed. One of the main points is that you have to find the standard divisor. I'll just call it SD, standard divisor. And you're going to use that to find each state's standard quota. Okay, so the standard divisor is found by, you have the population over the number of seats. So population, that should be pretty obvious that that's population. M stands for seats. So, for example, if a population of a country is, let's say, 1 million, just an easy number, and there's going to be 200 seats divided up amongst the states, the standard divisor would be 1 million divided by 200, which would be, let's see if I can do this without a calculator, 5,000. Okay. Now, as you remember from class, usually standard divisors don't come out to be nice whole numbers like that. So that's the first step with Hamilton's method of apportionment. You find the standard divisor. Then you're going to use that to find each state's standard quota. I'll write SQ for standard quota. I think they just use the letter Q for quota. So you're going to do that, and then the rest of it, it's probably best just to, just like how I did in class, to show an example of how it's done. So bear with me. I'm going to try to make this video and the next two videos be short, hopefully like 10 to 15 minutes tops. So you have to find the standard quota, and you use the standard divisor to do that. So find the standard divisor first. Okay, so here was the example that we did in class. How this method of apportionment works is once you find each state's standard quota, I think I want to get rid of this. So this is Hamilton's method. So I'm going to make a chart. So this is from the PowerPoint that you can look at on my math lab. It's the example of Parador's Congress using Hamilton's method. So we have, you guys know I'm bad at drawing charts. Standard quota, lower quota. For some reason they don't put the higher upper quota on here, but you don't really need it, I guess. So like I said, this is all on my math lab. This is from a PowerPoint. But instead of you just looking at it, I guess I can talk about it. So once you've found the standard divisor, you use that to find the standard quota. So in other words, like the standard quota, each state has a different population. So you're basing how many seats they get on how many people are in the state. So the standard quota for A was 32.92. So remember, that's just their population divided by whatever the standard divisor was. You can, there's other slides of the PowerPoint that tell you like what the population of state A was and what the standard divisor was. This is just to show you the method of apportionment, how it works. And I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to do it quickly because if I make these videos too long, you probably won't watch them. Plus I have 2 other videos on different apportionment methods to make. Plus this studio only has 1 camera, and so if I'm in here using it, nobody else can. So I think videos have to be kept down to probably 10 or 15 minutes. Nobody's told me that, but I use common sense. So lower quota, remember upper and lower quota, whatever this number is, the upper quota would be the next integer, so 33. The lower one would be just 32. You just drop off the decimal. So the lower quota is 32. For this one it's 138, 3, 41, 13, 19. Residue is just the decimal part. So the residue for this one is 0.92, 0.72, 0.08, 0.82, 0.70. So this method of apportionment, the whole idea of this method of apportionment is that you don't round like normal rounding. So state A has a standard quota of 32.92. You could say, well, let's just give them 33 seats. With this one, since it's 138.72, you could say, let's give them 139. But if you look, this one would get rounded up, this one would get rounded up if you use conventional rounding. This one would go down, this one would go up, that would go up, that would go up. And you're going to wind up with, I think, 252 seats if you do it conventionally. It's either 252 or 251. But you only have 250, so you can't do it that way. So this method, the actual steps for this apportionment method are, obviously you find the standard divisor, then use that to find the standard quota. Then the actual apportionment method is that you give every state at least its lower quota, so you write out all their lower quotas, and then you figure out how many seats that would actually wind up giving out. So if you add up all these numbers, you get 170, 214, 246. So you have 4 surplus seats because we're giving out 250 seats, but giving every state their lower quota, you wind up only giving out 246 seats. Okay? So you have 4 extra seats. So what you do, you're going to give out 4 extra seats. And how you're going to do that is you're going to look at their residues. The bigger the residue, the more likely they will be to get one of the surplus seats. So this is the highest residue, so their order is first. They're the first state that's going to get an extra seat. These people are second, third, fourth, and that's it, because you only have 4 extra seats. So they're the first one that will get an extra seat. So they're going to get 33. This state here is the second one to get an extra seat, so they'll get 42. These people are third, so they'll get 20. These are fourth, so they'll get 139. Then everybody else just gets their lower quota. Now when you add up these numbers, it should come out to 250. So everybody has their seats. It comes out to the right number of seats. So I'm going to keep that up there for a little bit, but don't be afraid, or don't be angry, I guess I should say, when I erase things, because this is a video. You can pause it, and if you wanted to copy it down, you could. So I don't really have to wait. So I'm going to erase this now, and then just talk about what I just did, the actual steps to the apportionment. So once you know what the standard divisor is and figure out each state standard quota, so I'll put that down. Find each state standard quota. Then the next step is the actual steps to this apportionment method, which is Hamilton's method. Give each state its lower quota. Give each state its lower quota to begin with. Based on the residues, find the order, I guess, order of surplus. Give the states with the highest residues their upper quota. So given out all of this. So these steps are in the book, obviously. They're on the PowerPoint too, I think. I'm not sure about that, but I think they're definitely in the book. So it is one of the methods that you'll be tested on, Hamilton's method. There's already been homework that most of you have already done. This was before classes were canceled. So we've already done this. We did it probably like a week before the last week of classes. Just a review. So that's Hamilton's method. Now, originally I was going to just talk about one other apportionment method, Huntington Hill. But since the homework assignment that I was going to assign, where you have to use that method, also talks about Webster's method, I'm going to go over Webster's method too. So the test that you were supposed to have this past week in person isn't going to be until, it's not even going to be this coming week. It's going to be Friday, April 10th, because I wanted to give you that extra time, because obviously it's hard coming right back from 2 weeks of spring break. Plus, I'm also adding in the Webster's method that we haven't talked about. And the Huntington Hill method I did talk about, but that was on the last day of class when only about half the people were in class. So this coming week, we're back to classes. I know that they're distance learning classes online, but we're still back to classes. But I wanted to give you this week to get caught up, and then into the swing of things, like how office hours are going to be done online. We might actually have a class online using distance learning, using WebEx. But that's why I want to give you an extra 2 weeks until Friday, April 10th, so you can know what's going on. So this was Hamilton's method. Make sure you also read about it. This distance learning works a lot better. Class in general, even if it's not distance learning, works a lot better if you come to class and also read the sections that are involved. So the next method I'm going to talk about is Webster's method.